not mad, boy. Show your face. I'm not mad.
That's okay. We don't change our plates every morning, just so you know. It'll be the same plate when you come talk to us later. That's fine. U.S. citizen, former fucking guy. You want to come at us? You want to come at us? I say go get yourself some lunch, big boy. Go ahead.
Out of the car. Get out of the fucking car. Get out of the car.
Whoa!
You heard that, right?
Yeah. I mean, listen, I'm going to tell you exactly what I saw in this video. I'm going to break down what I watched in this video. Several things. First of all, like you pointed out, she said, I'm not mad at you, dude. It's cool. I'm not mad at you. She was already sitting there. It's worth noting that he approached her car. And listen, I put a video out about this earlier. Let me clarify it right now on your live stream. That is not a body cam. People have been saying body cam. That's his personal cell phone.
His personal cell
so
phone.
So he got out of his vehicle. This is very important. He got out of his vehicle already recording on a personal device. I wonder, what is the Department of Homeland Security's policy on their agents being distracted recording on their personal devices rather than being locked in on this situation? Kristi Noem, the bird-legged hoe she is, she keeps claiming that this was a tactical situation. J.D. Vance calls it a tactical situation, a dangerous situation. Well, listen, I deployed to Iraq and Afghanistan, and I wouldn't find myself in a tactically dangerous situation with my cell phone out. I would have my eyes and ears, my head on a swivel. I would have my gear ready, whatever I need. In this case, I would have my weapon, whatever. But he gets out with his cell phone. Number two, he placed himself in front of the vehicle and he already drew his weapon. He drew his weapon on her, which is why when she drove off, he was able to fire so quickly. He drew his weapon on her as a way to threaten her into compliance. I looked up, if you go to DHS.gov, you can look up their use of force policy. You are not allowed to use your weapon to force compliance of someone in a vehicle or a moving vehicle. All right, if there's no other threat present. So in other words, if she doesn't have another weapon, if she had a weapon, it would change the whole scenario. She was unarmed. There was no other threat present. The DHS use of force policy says if you believe there to be an imminent threat, you can use your weapon. She says, it's okay, dude. I'm not mad at you. So therefore, clearly no threat present. Number three, I wonder what DHS policy is, having your cell phone in one hand and your weapon in the other hand. Listen, I've handled a lot of weapons in my life. In the Army, I was an expert marksman on the M4, on the M9, on the M2, and on the M249. I was also the weapons instructor for 2 different battalions that I was in. If you couldn't pass your weapons training or your weapons qualification, you had to come see me and I trained you. I understand weapons intimately. I understand how important it is to handle your weapon properly. I understand how important proper weapons training is. And I assure you that no one is ever taught to hold their weapon with one hand and just shoot like this. That is absolutely no discipline. So that's my biggest takeaway from this video, is the lack of discipline, training, and professionalism from this ICE agent. Because if he had any discipline, training, or professionalism, he would not be holding his weapon with one hand. That's a guy who watched too many movies. And oh, by the way, if you're in such a threat that your life's in danger, toss the fucking cell phone and control your weapon. He didn't do that. He maintained the cell phone. And what he thinks and what everybody on the right thinks is him getting hit by the car, it's him slamming his hand down on the car. The cell phone is in his hand. So from the cell phone's point of view, he got hit by the car. No, the cell phone hit the car. The car didn't hit him. It's very obvious to anybody with a half or even quarter of a brain watching that video. So you have a guy who's undisciplined, untrained, shooting his weapon with one hand. There's no imminent threat. She's telling him there's no threat. I'm not mad at you. This was murder.
So, Jesse, you just said this woman is in severe crisis. She was boxed in. If you watch the whole video...
No, she was boxed in.
That's what she was boxed in.
No, I said the team was boxed in.
Okay, the team was boxed in by... Once she moved over, she pulled to the side, and then she actually waves another ICE officer past her, right? So she's in such severe crisis that she can be polite in traffic and say, you go ahead. And then you hear her actually audibly saying, I'm pulling out, right? She signals exactly what she's doing. She starts to move forward, and everyone should go and watch. The New York Times has about 3.5 minutes of footage coming from every angle. And this is what they brought up to President Trump when they were meeting with him last night, when he said, the officer, the brave officer, and after he tweeted, it's hard to believe that the officer is alive when he walked away completely unscathed. We can see that on video as well. But the footage contradicts the administration on almost every level of what they've said. Renee Good waving the vehicle by. The officer was to the side of the car when he drew the gun. He leaned over the hood for the first shot. You can see that on the angle, too. That he fired 2 more shots at arm's length on a 90-degree angle. And it almost doesn't matter, actually, what she was doing, because she didn't have another weapon. According to DOJ policy, which they should be in compliance with, it says deadly force may not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect. Firearms must be discharged at a moving vehicle unless a person is threatening deadly force by other means than the vehicle, and no other means of defense exist, including moving out of the path. He could clearly move out of the path because he did, and that's why he was unscathed in this. I don't know why it wasn't good enough for Secretary Noem or the president or the vice president to say, this is a tragedy, we need to investigate this. And not only do we need to investigate it, we need the FBI to work with local officials on the ground in Minnesota, which apparently they do not want to do. And Governor Walz was talking about that as well. That would have been the responsible thing to do here. And talking as if there is no potential that this officer is at fault with what happened feels like you're getting a little bit ahead of your skis, especially when there is so much footage that contradicts the story that the administration is giving.
What do you say to that?
1,000% agree. I made a video yesterday. The DOJ policy that she just referenced is 1-16.000. And in that policy, which is the use of force policy, under 1-16.200, I just sent this policy, by the way, to the producer if they want to throw on the screen. But 1-16.200 is the Department of Justice's use of force policy, and specifically use of deadly force. In that policy, it says, and I quote, I'll read it to you verbatim. Here's what it says. It says, firearms may not be discharged solely to disable moving vehicles. Specifically, firearms may not be discharged at a moving vehicle unless. So specifically, you cannot fire your weapon at a moving vehicle unless the following 2 conditions apply. Let's look at those 2 conditions. Conditions number 1, a person in the vehicle is threatening the officer or another person with deadly force by means other than the vehicle, which means she has to have another weapon in the vehicle to threaten the officers with. She didn't have a weapon. In fact, she was doing the opposite of threatening the officer. She said, I'm not mad at you, dude. I mean, ill will. And then condition number 2 is the vehicle is operated in a manner that threatens to cause death or serious physical injury to the officer or others, and no other objectively reasonable means of defense appear to exist, which includes moving out of the path of the vehicle. So according to the Department of Justice use of force policy, you cannot fire into a moving vehicle unless they have another weapon in the vehicle, or you can't get out of the path of the vehicle and have no other choice. She didn't have another weapon, and he clearly had a path to get out of the way because he did. So I made a video about this yesterday. If you look at Department of Homeland Security's use of force policy, it says pretty much the same thing. The only other addition it has is that how they word it. They worded it that the vehicle, there has to be a clear and imminent threat. And clearly there's no clear and imminent threat. So by their own policy, this was an inappropriate use of force. And per the law, if you use inappropriate force and it results in someone's death, that's murder. And going back to your other question, Don, what should the governor do? Regardless of what the federal government's doing, Governor Walz and the department and the Attorney General in Minnesota should charge Jonathan Ross with murder. At a minimum, manslaughter.
I spoke with a law enforcement analyst yesterday and an attorney, and the law enforcement analyst said, in any other, if this is a local police department, local police officer, any other time, this person would be in jail waiting arraignment and the hearing and all those and all the things, except he's not, because This is Trump, and this is the America that we live in now. Jolly, let's talk about the evidence. You heard what Jessica Tarlov said. You read the rules. This is an investigation. It's a shorter piece from a longer piece that the New York Times has done. Watch.
A federal agent films the scene on his phone. The driver rolls forward slightly, turning left, then stops and waves for others to go ahead. Two agents exit this silver pickup and walk toward the vehicle.
Get out of the fucking car.
Moments later, shots are fired. Let's look at the scene again more closely. This is the agent who shoots the driver. He walks around the car filming and disappears from view. Other agents pull up and order the driver to exit her vehicle. One of them grabs at the door handle and reaches inside. The SUV reverses, then turns right, apparently attempting to leave. At the same time, the agent filming crosses toward the left of the vehicle and grabs his gun. He opens fire on the motorist and continues shooting as she drives past. The moment the agent fires, he is standing here, to the left of the SUV, and the wheels are pointing to the right, away from the agent. This appears to conflict with allegations that the SUV was ramming or about to ram the officer. President Trump and others said the federal agent was hit by the SUV, often pointing to another video filmed from a different angle. And it's true that at this moment in this grainy low-resolution footage, it does look like the agent is being struck by the SUV. But when we synchronize it with the first clip, we can see the agent is not being run over. In fact, his feet are positioned away from the SUV. The SUV...
I mean, listen, the video he's referring to, Donald Trump, when he posted that on Timu Twitter yesterday, it was the post where he said, "I can't believe he's alive." And he said, if you look at the clip below, and I was reading it, I said, what clip could he have possibly seen? And then he posted that shot from across the street, down the road, behind the tree, across the street, down the road, behind the tree, off to grandmother's house we go. We have all of these videos up close and personal that had already been viral on the internet. They were already circulating all around the internet. And the one that Donald Trump chose to attach to his Timu Twitter was this one, across the street, down the road, behind the tree. This is on purpose because Trump, even in his dementia-ridden state, knows that if we show the video, the footage from right beside the vehicle, anybody with a quarter of a brain knows the vehicle did not hit him.
Thanks so much for watching, everybody. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe so you never miss a show. We're live every weekday at 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. Eastern Time with new clips dropping at 2 p. and 8 p. And if you want even more Don Lemon Show content, join the Lemon community. Members get exclusive posts, behind-the-scenes videos, and live chats just for you. So hit the join button or visit our channel page to sign up. Thanks again for all your love and your support, and I'll see you next time.